Can you hear me now? Yeah, so can you hear me? Seems like everything should work. Yeah, it shows that it's working. But why we cannot hear AJ? And no. Okay, guys, can you tell, do you hear AJ or not? Write down in the chat. Just to be sure if it's like only me having the problem or if like all of you cannot hear.
All right, let's start. We have 10 minutes to data release, so let's start early. Share screen. Are you able to see my screen? Just type in the chat.
And now can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you perfectly.
Yeah, there's some problem. I don't know why. I couldn't hear. Usually, okay, yeah, let's start. Did we cover? Yeah, I see, nice. Good. Now everything works.
So we have 10 minutes to go till our data release. Before we go into the data release, let's go over the trade ideas that were shared last week on our last live session. Those trade ideas actually played out absolutely beautifully. The first trade idea that we had was we will long once we get a retest of 89,500. We didn't get that. Second trade idea was to long above 98,500, which played out beautifully to 94K. The third trade idea was to long above 91,500, targeting 94K. That has also played out beautifully. So both of these trade 1 to 3 risk to reward, they both played out. As per Ethereum, as of Ethereum, I mean, the first trade idea that we had was retest of 3050, targeting 3300. That played out absolutely beautiful as well. We didn't have a single closure below 3050. So you guys can see these zones, they actually work, and you don't really need anything else once you have these zones mapped out. 3050 to 3300, literally zero drawdown, no drawdown at all in that. Played out second trade idea for Ethereum, long above 3130. Once we close above, we then even dip down. That played out as well. So four trade ideas, all four of them, 1 to 3 risk to reward, all four W's. For further trade ideas, let's see what data reports we have releasing in 8 minutes. Let's refresh this. Of the data reports, it's a little bit tricky because it's PPI, rate producer price index. You can see like the elevated, the past reports have been elevated, so we have seen a higher manufacturers paying a higher price for their goods. So I'm thinking that it will come out as forecast or a little bit above. If it does end up coming above, this is going to add more fuel to the fire. So further cementing rate cuts. So the higher the PPI is, or higher CPI is, or in any US report that's coming out higher, is actually good for risk assets. So what we want to see is core PPI remaining around 0.2%, 0.3% is even better. Core retail sales previous PPI also coming at 0.2. There isn't like much margin here, right? So kind of have to be mindful and see how much volume and volatility that will have. Going into trade ideas, so releases in roughly 5 minutes. So in the next 5 minutes, we want to see either we close back above 95 to 50. We'll jump into the lower time frame to really start digging in, or waiting for a retest back into 93,500 to jump back in longs. It will all be data dependent. So we have roughly 5 minutes to go. And then once we have the data release, we'll jump on the 1 minute time frame and then start looking for scalp ideas. No, my expectation is going to be so alts we can see right now, alts have created new high, but they are starting to dig back below the range. Right? So like if especially on like Ethereum, if we start seeing that we're closing back below 3,300 and we don't pay the reports they come out favoring USD and we don't break back above 3,300, we could look to see and get into high risk, high reward shorts, targeting back into 3,200, 3,130 before making the next move up. So it's all data dependent now. So in 4 minutes, we'll get to know which way we go. Does end up coming above, because this is a scalping session, right? This isn't like day trading session. So we'll have to analyze the report when it comes out and then on the spot see which way we're going to go. Yeah. $76 again. Yeah, as of now, no. And I wouldn't be waiting for it, because if you can see over here, we have been in this range for the past 57 days. And yesterday we finally had a breakout. As long as we can stay and maintain above 94K, we'll slowly start chugging up to 98K, 101K. The only way that I could see us digging back below 76K is that if we have any new geopolitical tensions, or if we start closing back below 94K and we start making a bearish scenario again where we start closing below 89K, then yeah, 82K and 76K makes sense. But as of now, no. At some point, we will. Back down to 76K. We'll have to see extremely strong US dollar data reports. So that being like unemployment instead of unemployment rising. So unemployment right now, I think it's currently around 4.6%. So if that were to drop below 4%, so it'll have to be like a huge drop in unemployment claims. That will further push back rate cut bets, and that's when we could see us digging below 94, below 86, and then 76 again. But as of now, especially this quarter has made its lower wick, and we are retesting the higher band. Um, as of now, I don't see it. Pardon me? Not really, because Federal Reserve, they're a separate entity to the government, right? Like the government does not control the FOMC board. They're totally separate. Trump can do whatever he wants, but uh, the policies remain the same, right? Like even if we have a new Federal Reserve head, um, they need to have um, a majority power to overrule any decision. So it's not like we could just cut rates, right? So like, if we think about, yes, Donald Trump wants to cut rates. He's bringing into the markets that we need to cut rates, but cutting rates right now doesn't really make any real sense. Economically, U.S. is doing extremely well. Um, Labor board is okay. It's not that bad. Unemployment is okay. It's around 4.6%. Inflation is coming down. They don't really have the need to do any further rate cuts. Okay, we just had data releases. So core PPI, 0%. Retail sales came out a bit stronger. PPI came out 0.2. So it's coming out as expected. Core PPI dropping, this is actually good for us. So let's go back into our trade ideas. So let's swap on the 1 minute. Okay, on the 1 minute, we see that we are currently consolidating. We are in this range. So this is a no trade zone. On the 1 minute, we are going to be looking for yeah, this is the 1 minute time frame. So we're going to be looking if we have closures above 95,300 too long, or we start digging deep and we get a retest and hold of 94,600 for high risk, high reward longs. So waiting game now. Right now, we're not going to do anything. We're going to sit and be patient. Once we start seeing closures above 95,300, that's when we'll look to enter into longs. Right now, we can see we are currently at the top of the range, top of the consolidation, and making our lower wick on the 30-minute time frame. No, because it's a PPI report. It's not like a major report, right? Plus, we had a huge volume yesterday, so market needs a breather too. Let's just keep an eye on the 1 minute. On 30-minute, we can see we have we're making the lower wick, and price does not have upper wick yet. If you're extremely ballsy and looking for trade ideas, you could even long right now. Long at 95 100 with stop loss below the previous candle. So the stop loss will come here. Hop back on the 1 minute. It's better to wait for closures back above 95 300 to validate the longs. This is the boring part where you have to be patient. You have to wait for confirmations. Right now, we don't have any confirmations to enter longs. No, okay, so like how we did in our previous session, where you mark out your key zones. So last session we marked it out on higher time frames. This session we'll mark it out on lower time frames. So let me get rid of all this mess. Right, so we have mapped out. So we go on 30-minute. We map out your resistance. You map out your support. We see support down here at 94 600. We see resistance at 95 300. So the way I will play it is that this over here is a no trade zone, right? Once we have closures above or we have closures below, that's when we start looking to enter into trades. So my rule is like I wait for candle closures. This right here, this is just garbage, right? Like it's not a big range, it's a small range. You're asking yourself to get burnt in this range. So there's no point of trading this. And you don't know, like, if you were to enter here or you were to enter here, where are you going to take profit? Where are you going to put your stop loss? You really don't have any of that. But over here, we do know that we have a range high till 96K. So if candles start closing above here, we could target 96K for scalps. If we were to close below the range, we have clean target down to 93K. So that's how I look for scalps and how I treat scalps. So we eliminate the guessing game. For the really high risk takers, again, it was long at 95 100 with your stop loss right below the previous candle, targeting back into 95 800. And then for the ones that don't want to take a high risk, high reward, you could take along again with 95 300, targeting the same 95 800. But then your risk to reward is lower. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can you repeat that again? So the first one was. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, it makes sense. Yeah. What it say? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then what was the second trade idea? And what was the second trade idea? Yeah. 95, 500 above here. 95, 100. Yeah, it makes sense. So some of the trade ideas break above the range and then target the range high, or enter with the range low, targeting back into the range high again. Makes sense. Hmm. 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 Makes sense. But the only thing I would say is just be careful with shorting. The reason why I would say be careful with shorting is we had 55-day consolidation and we finally broke above the consolidation. Shorting will be going against the trend, right? So you'll be betting against the market. Um, for me, in order for me, shorts only make sense if we start digging deep and we start closing back below 93K. That would mean that on the 4 hours, we are this was a liquidity grab to 96K, and we were closing back below the range again. Right, that's the only way that I would look for shorts. But for now, I would look for longs because again, we broke out of this consolidation. We have been consolidating for the past 2 months almost. We finally broke above, and yeah, for me, like longs have a better risk to reward than shorts do. So instead of playing shorts, what I would do is simply just stay out. And then once we do get that pullback, look for longs at that point. Let's just go back. Overall, not expecting like a major volume today because again, yesterday we had the major volume, we had the major move, so markets do need to breathe a bit today too. Yeah, yeah, hmm, yeah. It's the candle closures, right? So like the higher time frame you go, the better the confirmations are. Since we're scalping, even 1 minute closures above 95 300 we could start looking to longs. Those are confirmations good enough for scalps. But if you're going for day trading or you're going for swing trading, you obviously want a higher confirmation rate. So you would want 1 hour closures above or 30-minute closures above. Um, yeah. So for scalping, even the 1 minute candles closing above 95,300 is confirmations. But right now we don't have that yet. So we'll just have to wait. I mean that's part of trading, right? Like we most of the time we get paid to wait. We don't get paid to actually be in the trade. We get paid to so we're not impatient. We have our closures. We have our confirmations. We get paid for that. Are there any more questions? Because right now the markets are very boring. This 15-minute candle is about to close soon. It's closing back below. Um, yeah. For the really high risk, high reward traders, I would enter into a BTC long right here. Your risk is not that much. Your entry is 95, 100. You're only risking $200 price difference. So your stop loss is extremely, extremely tight. It's 94, 900. And you have a decent target. It's a 1 to 3. No, it's a 1 to 2 risk to reward. Um, just targeting back into the range high, which is 95, 8, no, 95, 800. 95, 200 would be way too low. It wouldn't even be worth it to make that trade. They wouldn't even cover 1 to 1. Yeah, it is. That shows that we are shifting out of the bear structure, right? So we have been printing local higher lows, higher highs. So each range we break out of, that starts acting as support then, and we start making new higher highs. You want higher highs, higher lows in order for longs, right? So you go with the structure. It starts making lower time frame bullish structure. So you do want to see that. But as of now, sorry guys, but we are just consolidating, and it's very, very boring price action. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So let me recap play. Yeah, makes sense. 4,100. But this pullback, it needs to be validated, right? Like we're not going to get the pullback if there's no validation to it. Um, since this is like a scalping session, those are like the swing trades, right? That these trades will probably set up for the next week. I don't think we're going to go back to 3150 this week. 3150, 3200 is basically canceling out this entire move that we had. And we need a reason to cancel that out. That reason could be BTC closing back below 94K, or we have the Orange Man, aka Donald Trump, coming in, making some remarks about new tariffs. That's the only way that we see a full correction of this move. Yeah. Well, yes. Yes. Nothing really happens. Yeah. Mm, yeah. Because most of them have been priced in, right? So like the market is prices in. All most of the tariff stuff has been priced in. Venezuela stuff has been priced in. We need to see new geopolitical tensions. Could be Greenland, could be Taiwan, could be any one of those. Yeah. Hmm. No. Hmm. 95, 300. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Makes sense. Okay, so going into the lower time frame, we can see that we are retesting 94, 95K on the dot. We for longs, we don't want to see closure below 95, 935. If we want to see longs above 95, 300. If we start breaking this, we'll most likely head towards 94, 500 before seeing a reaction back up again. As of now, I'm just consolidating. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Makes sense. So I look at the 1 minute time frame. Once I have like my entries marked out, my zones are marked out, then I'll start looking into the 1 minute and 5 minutes to look for entries. Other than that, looking at 1 minute and 5 minute, it's not worth it. So you want to do your higher time frame analysis on the 4 hours, and then you dig down to the 1 hour, the 2 hours time frames. And once you have your zones marked out, That's when you start digging into the 1 minute, the 2 minute, 5 minute time frames to start looking for entries. Other than that, no, you don't look at 1 minute or 5 minute. You'll fry your brain so looking at it. Approximately how long do you hold your trades until they hit stop loss or they hit take profit? It could take days, it could take months. It depends on like which trade it is. If I'm entering into a swing trade, again like I said last session, I'm still holding 76K entry. I've been holding it for almost 9 months now. But that's swing trading. Day trading again, it hits stop loss or it hits take profit, right? So like in the previous session, we shared the 89K entry. Um, that trade was from Thursday till yesterday, so around 4 or 5 days roughly. Because when you enter into a trade, right, like you shouldn't be second guessing your trades. You need to let them run, regardless of how long it's going to take. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's not. And plus, you need to have a proven system first, right? So, like, your system, it needs to outline how much risk you're going to have. Everything needs to be predetermined before you enter into a trade, right? So you need to know how much you're going to lose, how much you're expected to win before even entering into a trade. Yeah, and there's always room for error here, right? So like you might think the market's going to move up, but it moves down. What are you going to do then? You need to you can't have emotions control you. You need to let go of the emotions. You need to let go of your bias, and you need to be willing to change at any given point. Okay, for the daily ideas, yeah, that's much better since we're not having scalps. Yeah. My idea on Ethereum just played out yesterday. So Ethereum is currently consolidating. Okay, let's look into Ethereum. Let's get rid of all of these. Let's go into the 4 hour time frame. Okay. Mhm. Ooh, oof, oof, yeah. Perfectly makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So going to the daily trade ideas on the Ethereum, we can see we have not been able to close above the range highs, especially on higher time frames. We dug up, right, and we retested the range highs, but we have not closed above yet. So we're not fully bullish. The only way that I can see us retesting 3600 is if we start having closures back above 3350. So what I will need to see in order to get into longs again is that we push up from here, we close above 3400, we come back, we retest 3350, we don't break below, we make support here. That's the only way that I see us chugging up to 3650 again. So this 4 hour candle, which is going to close in 2 hours from now, needs to close above 3350 in order to look for continued longs. If we don't have this closure above, it would make sense for price to come back, dig below again, retest 3150, 3125, and then make the move up. So again, you need to wait for these confirmations. Um, but before we do that, let's jump on to the lower time frame. Again, very high risk, very high reward. You could enter here with your stop loss below 3275, targeting the range high again. I've entered this on my scalping account. It's very high reward, very high risk. Going back to Bowden's question, the higher time frame trade ideas that I have is closures above 3350, targeting 3600, or if we see a failure to close back above here, have a retest of 3150 before seeing the major move up again. This is going to, so this scalp is also going to get validated once we start closing above 3300. So our first entry is at 3300, 3297 to be exact, and then above 3300 is going to be our second entry. If you're scalping and you are in 3295, 3296 entry, you could even move your stop loss to break even again. So now this becomes a risk-free trade where even if price were to come back, dig below again, you don't lose out on anything. The trade closes out at break even, and you can look to jump back in again. Yeah, because at the end of the day, right? Like we're in this game for the longer run. We're not here for the short term. We shouldn't be looking for high risk. I mean, we should be looking for high risk, high reward, but it shouldn't mean that we're risking our balance. We're risking losing positions, right? Like even with the high risk, high reward entries, you want to have a decent risk to reward so you're not losing. Um, yeah. Right, even this was like really high risk, high reward. So like this 3,300 entry was high risk, high reward, but we had data supporting us. So data came out supporting our thesis. We had the price move down. We had a little bit of support made, and now we're pushing back up above. If we were to close above and we start breaking above these candles, it validates our longs even further, and we could um, it validates our trade idea then, right? So just this alone, 10% has been achieved. So you could look into locking in 10% profit here. Let's move into our time frames. So Solana, same thing with Bitcoin. We have been consolidating for the past 50 days. Today is actually the make it or break it candle. The daily needs to, so Solana for me, it's not worth it. I'm not going to be trading Solana right now. I need to see closures. So especially on the daily closing above this range in order to take any trades. Once daily closes above 145, 146, we can then look to target into 168. So what I am waiting for, and will be taking trades. So next week, most likely, is that today, tomorrow, and over the weekend we have closures above 145, and then on Sunday, when the market opens, we dip down to 145, and then next week we make the move up to 167. Okay, guys, our trade idea is playing out. So far, 15% has been gained on scalp. We have broke above 3,300. We closed above. This candle is retesting it. We now don't want to see closures back below 3,305. If we see closures back below 3,305, it means that we're going back into this range, and we'll be going back to our entry again. So nice. We broke above. We retested 3,305, and we are continuing to push up. So over here, you have achieved 1-to-1. So 1-to-1 in scalps, more than good. 1-to-2, good enough. So you could start looking to take some profit. Yes, if anyone wants to ask like the higher time frame ideas, that'll be great. I'll share it in the chat too. I'll share it in the Discord, um, the trade idea. Yeah, into Ethereum, I put for Ethereum in the trader chat that everyone should be longing at 3150, 3050, and to keep an eye out on Ethereum. We didn't break $1 below 3050. Yeah. Yeah.
Like intraday
For this live
trading.
session, yeah. In general, for only for this live session, I'm bullish. But in order to become full bullish, BTC today, especially on the daily candle, needs to close above 94K. If BTC doesn't close above 94K and we see us closing below, we will be heading back down. But as of now, as of this live session, BTC is doing exactly what we want. Boom. So even the riskiest trade that we shared, which was here at 95K, is currently playing out. We are back to the range high, and now our second set of trade ideas is about to enter. So once we have this 15-minute candle close above 95,300, we can then look to enter into longs. Mhm. Boom, guys. W's in the chat. Our trades are going. So there we go. So the high risk, high reward entry, 32.97. Move your stop loss to break even if you haven't already done so. Just moving like we want, like we expect. Bitcoin as well. Start to take profit here. So 1-to-1 has been achieved. And we are on our way to 95,700. And this is where the second entry comes in now. So if you already took profit, you can enter here. Um, and then, yeah, wait for our take profit to hit. No, I mean, if it goes down, it goes down, right? Like, uh, but I think it's gonna continue. Yeah, it's gonna continue. I feel like it's gonna continue to chug up because we do like the data report. It came out lower. It's good for us, right? So this is further cementing rate cuts. It was forecast 0.2. Actual came out to 0%. Slowly, it should continue to chug up. Like especially Ethereum 3320, it should hit that. But so far, 20% gained on Ethereum with 40x leverage. Mhm. Mhm. Sounds good. And this is what I mean by candle confirmations, right? Sorry about that. I get way too excited about trading. But yeah, this is why I was talking about candles need to close above 95,300. So if you see on the 1 minute, these are the confirmations that I was talking about. That you see this candle right here, the 908 candle. 908 candle closes above. 909 candle comes back, retests 95,300 on the dot, doesn't break even a dollar lower. The next candle instantly pushes back above. So these are the confirmations that validate your trade ideas. Over here was high risk, high reward. We didn't have any confirmation. We just knew because of the data report that came out is supporting longs. But over here, we had our confirmation. It closed above. The next one retested. The third one it engulfed the previous one. And that's how you kind of like remove the guessing game out of your trading. Once you have these confirmations and you know your system works, you enter them. And then, yeah, and then you just let it play out. Either it hits your stop loss or it hits your take profits. Mhm. Yeah, yeah, sounds good. And yeah, there we go. No worries.